Hi, if you're new here, I'm Angela. This is my husband, Vince. We travel around full-time in our RV, finding historic sites, kind of oddball sites, and oddball festivals for sure. But today we're just historic site all the way with the Freedom Trail in Boston. And we took a little bit different approach to this. We kind of started in the middle
Yeah.
and then went back to the start. But we did that because the Boston Tea Party Museum.
Yes.
And it kind of gives you, it's a reenactment, and they're on the harbor, and kind of gives you the history refresher, because probably for most of us it's been a long time, or at least a minute, since we actually had the official history and not just bits and pieces of history. So it was really nice to go in there and give the whole roundabout. They have a replica ship there and everything, and the actors, and just give you the whole history. So,
And the Boston Tea Party is kind of like literally what really kicked off, I guess you could say, the events that led up to
yeah, if
the
it's been a
revolution.
long time for your history, that
Yeah.
is an important note too. So we started there. It was really great too, because at the end of it, then you're taken up to a little tea room, and you get to taste the actual blends of the teas that were thrown. All right, so we are here sampling the teas that they did throw overboard, and we've just done the whole Boston Tea Party ship and museum, which I highly recommend. It was a great overview of the entire history, and they walk you through everything with the reenactments and everything. It was really a great tour. And then you get to try the teas at the end here. So we're trying the first one, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but we'll put it on the screen. And it's not too bad. It's has a strange scent to it, but it's not too bad. So after that, then we jumped on the hop on, hop off trolley. And that just gave us a good way to, you're already going to walk a lot of steps if you're going to do the Freedom Trail, but it gave us a good way to just ride it once through and get kind of the lay of the land, and then jump off where we wanted to jump off to. So that was a great way. Those two we actually were hosted at, but that they were both great ways to get the history refresher and the lay of the land. And I think the whole trail, if you just walk it straight through without backtracking or wandering through cemeteries or anything like that, I think they said it's little over 2 miles.
Yeah.
So whatever you're up for walking wise, but I know that we then split up different days too, and we were easily walking, 4 to 6 miles on days, just because we'd wander down different streets or something too, because it's downtown Boston.
Yeah.
And it's,
And some of that was to get some good food from the north end.
yes, yes. So our first stop after the Tea Party Museum was Boston Common itself, which is just a beautiful area.
Yes. Always teeming with
Something's always
hundreds
going
and
on.
hundreds
Yeah.
of people. I mean, probably thousands.
And it's where the Goodwill Hunting bench is. There's sculptures that you've seen photos of. The Cheers bar is just outside of it. So you could easily spend a day walking around there and doing the things just around there. But then we went over and saw the Massachusetts State House as well. After the Massachusetts State House, we went to the Park Street Church and the Granary Burying Ground.
The Granary Burying Ground has a lot of historic people in there. Paul Revere, Sam Adams, John Hancock, they're all in there, so you can see their graves.
And then we headed down the street to King's Chapel and Burying Ground. And we'll let you know all of our eating places at the end, so that regardless of what order you do these in, you can find the eating places whenever you're hungry. And it's also a good reminder too to we have a Google map list of our favorites for anywhere in the country that we found. So give that a follow. It's a free list to follow, and then just when you're nearby something, you can grab some good food too. But the King's Chapel and Burying Ground is another one where a lot of people are buried. Contains some of the earliest settlers of Boston. And a little bit of history of the walkthrough in there too. And then on to the Boston Latin School. And this is where you'll find the donkey sitting outside that was kind of controversial because a man had it made in the 90s actually. So it's new to put in front of the City Hall, but City Hall felt like it was too representative of one political party, so it ended up going here. So, and then there's footprints where you can stand in opposition of it too, if that's what you choose to do. So that's there too, and a lot of people like to take a photo of that as well.
There was a long line to take a picture of that.
But the Latin School was the first public school site in America. So it was the first time there was a public school in America, and it opened in 1635. So it is rather old and has alumni like Samuel Adams and John Hancock. And then we drove by. We didn't do any driving. There was no driving down there.
There was no driving in
we didn't even take the big truck. So if you're an RVer and have the big truck, even if you have a tiny Toad, like, just take the public transportation.
Yeah, take the T. It's very easy to get. There's stations all around. It was clean. It was safe. It was very economical. I think it was $2 a trip.
Free if you're a veteran, though.
Free if you're a veteran, yes.
If there's somebody there to show you're a veteran.
Yes.
Too. And it takes you right to the trolley hop-on, hop-off areas, because obviously it's just taking you into downtown. But the trolley hop-on, hop-off are right at some of those stops. So it's very easy. But the old corner bookstore was kind of the hub of publishing in the 19th century and is now a Chipotle.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful old building, and while you're down there, you should walk past it anyways. But it's a little sad to see it be a Chipotle. Hopefully that gets refurbished and fixed at some point.
Yeah.
And then we went on to the Old South Meeting House, and this is where they gathered to protest the Tea Act, which was the act that started the Boston Tea Party that ended up leading to the Revolutionary War.
It was the Facebook of the day.
Yeah. Over 2%.
Yeah.
So we fought the war over 2%.
Yeah.
Was the final straw, I guess.
And pretty much, I think it's literally right outside of the meeting house is where the Boston Massacre took place. So they have would you call it a plaque? I don't know what you'd call it really, but it's set,
medallion.
Yeah, it's set into the sidewalk, and it explains what happened there and all that. So this next site, nobody has ever kind of came up with the correct pronunciation. Even the park rangers said that. It is Faneuil. They kind of set it on Faneuil Hall. It was donated by a wealthy merchant to the city of Boston, and it is where patriots met and debated and talked. It was another kind of meeting house, if you will.
Lots of meetings before you
a lot of
revolution.
And it's still active today, and there's still merchants there. The bottom floor is kind of one of the stops for the National Park Service, so they have a lot of stuff that way.
And your stamps, if you need your stamps for your book.
Yes. But the top level is kind of set up how it was back then, renovated and restored, of course. But so you can kind of see where they would go in, and they would hear those fiery speeches that got everybody ready to take on, at the time, world power.
Something to keep in mind, too, with the Freedom Trail is this is a mixture of national park sites and privately owned sites.
Yeah.
So if you have the National Park Pass, definitely put it in your pocket and take it. But it's not going to get you in everywhere. Some places you are, if you want to go into. I think the Old South Meeting House was one of them that we paid for.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. Maybe the Old State House and the Old South Meeting House. But some of them are private that way, so it won't get you in everywhere, but definitely have it on you and have your passport book on you because there are a couple of stamps to get. And then we moved on into the North End and to the Paul Revere house. And got very sidetracked the entire time because the North End is where the really good food is. So we got very sidetracked constantly. But we went to the Paul Revere house, and obviously it's the home of the Midnight Rider. Wow. And I mean, we went through the house. We paid, but it was a national park location.
We didn't have our pass on us that day. That's why. So that's when we remembered to make sure we always had.
Yeah, because we usually just keep it in the truck. But there was no photos inside, but outside, of course, you could see, and just right there in the middle of Boston, right around the corner from a really good sandwich shop. We'll make sure we tell you about. And then on to the Old North Church, which is the...
One if by land,
Yeah.
two if by sea.
So it is definitely a must stop for the Freedom Trail.
And it was interesting from the Freedom Trail in that respect too. It was also very interesting that the I guess maybe a pew box. I don't know exactly how you would put it,
Yeah.
but families could buy it and then they could decorate it however they wanted. So when you went to church, you always sat in your same box with your same pew, and it was decorated the way you wanted. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
It was an interesting from the culture side because it was definitely a status
Yes.
to be able to buy the box versus be up in the kind of rafters.
Yeah.
In the general seating. So it was definitely a peek back at what the culture was then.
And back then, church services went on for hours.
Yeah.
Too. So you wanted to have
Yeah.
as comfortable a spot as you could instead of sitting on literally a wooden bench with no back in the general seating area.
Yeah. And then we went on to Copp's Hill Burying Ground, and right across the street from there is the Spite House, which was interesting to see. I mean, just since you're there already, you might as well look at this tiny little skinny house to block views.
An interesting thing too about Copp's burying ground, the hill overlooks the harbor, so the British set up there, during the war, because then they could oversee the harbor and they could see kind of our movements, and then when we took it over from them, then we could do the same thing and we could watch British ships coming in and out of the port and all that.
And this is where the really unfortunate part kicked in.
Yeah.
Because it was October 1st by then, because like I said, we got very, very sidetracked. This was actually several trips down. We did the hop on, hop off, and then it was several trips back down to do everything we wanted to do. Because, well, kind of too, because we needed to space out meals. But by now it was October 1st, and we still had Bunker Hill and the USS Constitution to do, and obviously those closed down on October 1st. Yeah. So we saw the outside of the USS Constitution and the little museum nearby it, and then we went out to the Lexington and Concord area and saw the Jason Russell House, which, if you're not familiar with this, it is apparently the actor Kurt Russell's ancestor, and he was one of the only ones not to flee and to stay and try to protect his house. Died on his doorstep though. And so the house is done up to period. Most of the house is done up to period. Part of it is later. Yeah. But it was very interesting. Obviously still bullet holes through there. And you can see where some of them hid in the basement. And kind of hear the stories of...
And it was also one of the bloodiest battles on that first day in April 1775 when... the shot heard around the world and all that between Lexington and Concord. That was where both armies met up, and that was one of the bloodiest battles. And
they will actually say, too, it is actually where the revolution... They at the house will say it's where the revolution began, because on down the street where the Minuteman and the shot heard around the world is and everything, the Patriots hadn't fired back. And in their logic... to have a revolution, it takes firing both ways. So this is where the firing both ways happens. So if you're into the technical side of where did it begin, it sounds like this is it. But it was very interesting, just in the middle of a neighborhood again. I mean, all these are so old and everything just grew up around it. Yeah. So you're in the middle of a neighborhood. And then we went on down to the Lexington Green and the Minuteman Museum, or Minuteman Monument, and there's a trail there that is the trail that Paul Revere took, or that they've kept up as a running trail and everything that you can walk on.
Called the Old Battle Road.
Yeah.
And there's actually the site where Paul Revere was stopped and arrested, and they took his horse and his shoes. So the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere is famous, and that is how everybody knows Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. But he actually didn't do it alone, and he didn't even finish it because he was arrested and, again, stripped of his horse. So,
and you can go to the Old North Bridge. Obviously, everything is open there, and there's another spot if the national parks are open to get your stamps there, too. So take your passport book there. And they actually have the Bark Ranger program. So the dogs, this was before the shutdown, so the dogs were able to get their Bark Ranger program tags there. And that is pretty much the Freedom Trail. Now we need to go back and talk about the food. So the first two we didn't eat at because somebody doesn't like seafood.
That'd be me.
And so we didn't eat at them. And that's Union Oyster House and Neptune Oyster. Had we had time, we would have gone for me to grab something and for you to just grab their hamburger or whatever, because they are so historic. You know, Kennedy used to sit in there and everything. And just, there's a lot of history to those two. But we did not eat that then, but you should. And they're supposed to be very good too.
Another little gee whiz history thing that's about that is right down the street from the Union Oyster House is John Hancock's house, and it's for sale. At least it was at the time we were there. Maybe it's sold now. I don't know.
Yeah, so you can buy it. You can live in John Hancock's house and be close to all this good food.
Yes.
And then the ones we did try was Bova's Bakery.
Very good bread. Oh, I miss that bread.
Oh, yeah. Very, very good everything. And it's just right on a corner, and you will wait in line to get in. We happened to just walk right in, but every other time we were past there was a line waiting out the door of just people there and you're not sitting down to eat or anything. You're just grabbing your stuff to go. Mm-hmm. So, and then speaking of lines, around the corner is Mike's Pastry, and Mike's Pastry and Modern Pastry are going to be the ones that you hear about for the cannolis. And although Bova's is supposed to have the best.
Well, we didn't try Bova's, but out of Mike's...
Because there's only so much we could eat.
Yeah.
Like, we ate so much sugar. We're not big sugar people, and we ate so much sugar on the stop that I don't think our doctor is going to be happy when we get to Florida and do our checkups.
Luckily, we were walking about at least 10,000 steps a day, so that probably helped offset it a little bit. Yeah. But although out of Mike's and Modern, which did you like better?
I liked...
Do we have to go back and try again?
No, I'm going to give the edge to Mike's.
Yep, that's fine.
First of all, they have so many options.
So many flavors, yeah.
And it was a little bit bigger. You do pay a little bit more. Modern was a dollar or two less. But I'm going to give the edge to Mike's.
I would too.
Yeah. But both are worth trying. And what we did to keep it a little less sugar was we just got one and split it at each place, because we'd already had, at the Daily Catch, we'd already had the black squid pasta. And we were headed to eat somewhere else. So we needed to break apart.
Funny story about that. So with Daily Catch, they have like a little street side window kitchen that you could get it and you can take it away.
There's a sit down restaurant too.
Yeah, plus a sit down restaurant. And it was around 10:30, and we just happened to be walking past the street window one, and one of the cooks opened the window. I took that to mean that they were opening up for the day. So I walked up and I said, hey, I'd like to have some of the, squid ink pasta and all that, but can you not cut up the calamari on top of it? Because, again, I don't need seafood. He said, sure. He said, we don't actually open until 11, but I'm sorry, the window was open. I didn't know. He's like, no, we're just trying to keep it cool in here. We're trying to open it up, get some airflow. I said, well, I'll just come back. He said, no, that's fine. Let me get it. So he made us our pasta, which was very good. And then 2 or 3 more people walked up. So I kind of started something. I didn't mean to.
Hopefully you had a good day.
Yeah.
But it was very good pasta too.
Yes.
And you didn't taste anything different. There was just a lot of garlic on it, and then the pasta itself was fresh and good. And looked like spooky season with it being black. So it was very good. Would highly recommend that too. And then where we were headed that day was Brico's. But there's a restaurant in Brico's, but then there's the alley Brico's.
You got to find the alley.
Obviously, it's us. And so we're not going and sitting down at the restaurant. We're finding the alley. And there is, when you go down the alley, if you go to the left and down the stairs, it'll be to the bread bakery, which I highly recommend too. But if you go to the right and into the store, it's going to be their little sandwich shop. And those sandwiches were good. They were very good.
And just like everything else, always a line.
Yeah, always a line. And so we went back there a couple times. And then we also had Regina's Pizzeria there in the North End. And it was very good. We went to that twice too.
Yeah. Took your aunt and uncle.
Yeah. We ended up meeting up with my aunt and uncle because they happened to be in town too. So we met up with them and went to the pizza place there too. They had a butternut squash and sausage pizza.
Yes.
And
I
it
never
was
would have thought butternut
so
squash
good.
on pizza would be good, but
It was so good. I
very,
think it could have
very
used some
good.
mushroom too, but
Oh man, I didn't know that.
but it had butternut squash, onions, and sausage, and it was very good. But I just think throw a few mushrooms on there would have been good. And then we tried. I guess this sandwich shop has changed names several times, but it's down near Boston Common area, Sam LaGrasse's, and I think this is a diners, drive-in, and diners, drive-ins, and dive place. But and they do like 1,200 sandwiches a day or something
like
insane.
that. Yeah.
And we went in and had the sandwich there, and we had the Reuben,
Yes.
and it was amazing. It was a little bit pricey.
Yeah.
It was a $25 sandwich, and we did split it, but kind of because we had to get home, because every time we went down to the Freedom Trail, we had to get back to the dogs, because with Loki's health concerns and the medicines he's on, we need to be with him, back to him about every 4 hours. By the time you added in the public transportation and everything, we were back and forth a lot.
To go back and forth, it was about 2 hours on the train.
So we'd have
with
about
all the
2 hours
stops.
when we get downtown and then have to go back. So we were back and forth a lot, but we were headed home. So, but if we wouldn't have been headed home, we probably wouldn't have got away with splitting the sandwich.
Yeah.
And that kind of wraps up our downtown Boston and Freedom Trail. And lots of good food. I think there's still some food places that we wanted to try that we just didn't get to, because that North End, I think we could go down there and just get a Airbnb or something, so that we're right there and just stumble out of the Airbnb, eat, go back.
I'm not sure, but I think there was some above Bricko. I'm just saying. So.
Oh, wow. That would be deadly. Yeah, very, very good food. You're going to walk a lot. It's going to be worth it. But if you like food and history, you absolutely need to get to downtown Boston, to the Freedom Trail, and check it out.
So if you like this video and you like our content, please hit that like and subscribe button. It'll let you know when we come out with new videos, and it doesn't cost you anything. Other than that, we hope to see you out on the road.